Hi everyone, welcome to Max 8 tutorial number 24, 4-track looper, part 3. You may remember this beautiful device we made, which is a 4-track looper, and of course recapping as I always do, let's just record something. We turn the audio on, and we make sure this is set to 1, because now whatever this number is the track that it's feeding to. So here we'll just say ba 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 Brian, ba 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 Brian. Nice. Okay, and then we start it. We'll turn loop on so it'll just go forever here. Okay, here we go. Ba 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 Brian, ba 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 Brian. How could it be any better than that, right? So, turning this down a little bit, we could even do a second thing and say, oh, Barbara Ann, take my hand. Oh, Barbara Ann, take my hand. Barbara Ann. Oh, Barbara Ann. Barbara Ann. All right. Stop. Everybody stop. And we also made it sync and everything else. So this is a pretty cool thing, but we are about to figure out how to make it better. So let's go ahead and deal with some of the things that are so problematic. One of them is when you have a looper, you need control of everything. And I really like this gate thing that sends your commands to whatever track you're tuned to. But if we had control over that, let's say we could push 1 for 1, 2 for 2, 3 for 3, and 4 for 4, then we could, and we can scroll them right now by going like this, but it's less than perfect. And we could also have a play and a stop command and all that sort of thing. So why don't we do that? Let's modify this thing and make it awesome. So let's take it out of presentation mode and move this thing over here a little bit and put our old friend key in here. And so for that, whoops, unlock our patcher, and we're going to type the letter N. We type key, and that should really do it. So key translates all the keys that are coming in. Now, if you don't really get all that much more from using the help file, but you can if you want, so I may as well show people who aren't familiar with this. I just option click on this, and I see this over here in the help file. What is it? Oh, look, if I press an A, I get these numbers. If I guess a B, I get this, etc., etc., etc. And hey, I don't feel like making all these boxes myself, so I'm just going to unlock the help file, steal the things that I want, copy them, close the help file, delete this one because it's lame, and then put in this new one that, whoops, I did the thing that I'm not supposed to do, which is unselect something before I move them all together. So now I have to be really careful here. Okay, so I'm going to move this, I guess this is as good a spot as I can get where I can work here. We're really crowded today. And we'll take care of that shortly. So let's move these up here so we can use a little less space. And let's observe what this thingamajig does. So we're going to lock our patcher, and we're going to type a 1, because we're thinking of being, okay? So this is what happens if you type a 1. And here's what happens if you type a 1 holding shift. And here's what happens if you hold the caps lock down and type a 1. So what I'm after doing here is doing something. This is the sign that the caps lock key is down. This third group, if you'll go back to that, if you can go back to the help file and it's actually printed out. But these are for modifier keys. So when we get 1024, the modifier, what we can do is then either use that to turn on and off a gate, or we could also be otherwise clever about it. I'm just going to use it to turn on and off a gate. Okay, so here, and then we'll figure out what letters are coming through here and make them select things to do what we want them to do. But the first thing we're going to do is, so we have some more space to work, we're going to encapsulate this whole thing, because that is going to make it easier. We'll have some space then. So I'm just going to select the key and its parts, and I'm going to go up here and say encapsulate, and we're going to call this patcher. I tell all my students to put their own name in it so it doesn't get confusing for anybody, so I'm going to call it Johnny Key. Johnny Key. Always one word, don't forget, don't put any spaces in there, it always confuses things. Okay, so now that we have Johnny Key here, let's lock our patcher and double click on it so we get a nice open patcher with our stuff inside it. And now we have a little bit of room to work here. Alright, so knowing that when we hit the modifier caps lock, that will cause this to be 1024, I believe, and 0 when caps lock is not on, we can make a select object that says, hey, select 0, or hey, I didn't tell it to do that. I wanted to say select. I can't talk and type at the same time. So if it selects 1024, which is for caps lock, it's going to send out a bang here. And if it selects anything but that, it's going to send out that number here, so we'll have to deal with that. So here, we're going to connect this to that. So this will send out a bang. That is great. And what it'll do is open a gate. So we're going to put a message for 1, because that's going to cause the gate to open, right, when we have a gate. And then anything else is going to send out the message 0, and we're just going to connect this to the left-hand outlet, mind you, and that should trigger, oops, I forgot to put a 0 in there, a 0. There's a safer way to do this with a trigger object. Oh, what the heck, I'll show it to you. I was using a message just for consistency, but there is actually an object that if it receives anything, it triggers and will send out whatever you tell it to. And that's a trigger object. So let's go ahead and use it. It's the right thing to use. Let's do the right thing. So trigger, send out a 0. That's all you've got to do. Okay? And we can check it to make sure it actually does that. Goodbye, little message. But these are should be equivalent. This, if it gets any sort of input, should send out a 0, and this, when it gets anything, it should say trigger a 0. Okay. And both of these go to our gate. Which is just a regular gate of, it doesn't go to 2 separate places, it only goes to 1 place, and that's it, gate 1, or you could probably just type gate. Okay, and these are going to open it and close it. Alright, so, according to that, if we put a message box down here to receive whatever's coming through there, and we have a letter coming out here, then we should be able to lock our patcher and without hitting caps lock, just hit anything. And you'll notice as I'm typing A, S, D, F, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, nothing goes through. Now we're going to push caps lock down and hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Great, so that's 49, 50, 51, and 52. Perfect. So now we have something that can trigger our numbers. So we have to just make we have to unlock this. You can turn caps lock off if you want, and then your key won't continually write all the time. And now we hit a new object. We type select. Whoops, not the Russian version, but the English version of select. And what was that? 49, 50, 51, and 52. Okay. And so, and we can keep going with this, and we want this one to send out a 1, this one to send out a 2, this one to send out a 3, and this one to send out a 4. And the only way we can think of doing that is typing a message, typing 1, typing the letter M to get another message, a 2, clicking outside, typing another M, typing 3, clicking outside, typing M, typing another one is 4. Okay, so we connect this one to the left-hand inlet, left-hand inlet, left-hand inlet, left-hand inlet. And then we make them nice and neat. And this is the anything else outlet. You don't need to hook anything up to that. And then we'll need an outlet down here, which you can either get by searching around up here for something. What is it? I can never remember how to get an outlet because I always just type outlet. Oops, no, I don't want to toggle. Just type letter N and then type outlet. There you go. That's the way to do it. And that will give you an output side to your patcher, and then you can reverse this one so you can hold the shift key, pull this up here, hold the shift key down, and just go click, 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 let the shift key up, and there you go. Okay, now we have something that can control our numbers. Let's make sure it works. We close that. We see this key thing here. We unlock this. We move this over. We connect this over to our big 1 there. And lock your patcher. And now type 1, 2, 3, and 4. Oh, it doesn't work. That's because you didn't hold the caps lock key down. Push caps lock down so the little light comes on if you have a fancy keyboard like mine. And then type 1, 2, 3, 4, and look at that. It changes 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that is going to be primo. But now I feel extra lazy. This record button, I have to click on it to turn it on and click on it to turn it off. I hate that. So what I'm going to do here is make another, let's click this open again. I want it so that when I hold down the tilde key, I get an on and off for that button. And that'll come out another outlet. So essentially, okay, don't laugh here. This is really the ultimate in laziness. Unlock your patcher and just copy everything, right? And move it over here. You'll see why in a minute. Okay. Now, it's not that we're doing anything rocket science-y, but when we have the tilde thing, we want it to be recording when it's held down, and we want to stop recording when it comes up. So we're going to want all these over here to respond to key up. Whoops. Oh, I still have the caps lock down. There we go. Key up. So these are going to do fine, and they will work with the caps lock there. But with the tilde, we're going to want the key up to happen. So what do we want to happen here is that, let's find out what tilde is. We push the caps lock down, and then we hit tilde. And we see that tilde is 96. So now we're going to want a select 96 here. So let's click in here for 96. And then, so if you hover over this, you can also check your, so select the bang if the input matches 96. We're going to want this to turn on the recording. So we're going to turn on that toggle with the number 1. So type a message and a 1. And there it is. But it can't go out the same outlet. So I'm just going to erase all these. I know, it just gets lazier and lazier. This outlet is going to go to the record device. And then, let's check something else out here. So if we put another 96 over here, where it's changed to key up, I want you to watch this, and I'm just going to do this with the A. I'm going to lock my patcher, I'm going to push down A. So this one turns to 65 right away when I hold an A down. And this one doesn't until I let the key up. I'm about to let the key up. So this one waits until you let off the key. Now let's try it with the tilde. 96 down, and now I'm going to let up. 96 up. When this 96 comes up, I want to select that and trigger a 0 to turn the toggle back off. So, whoops, unlocking my patcher, I type in M and I type a 0. I come up here, and you can see that says bang if input matches 96. There it is. It's going to bang on that 0, and it's going to send that down to outlet 2. Is this, you got this so far? So, it looks like a lot of stuff, but all of it's contained in a little tiny box. So this one's going to turn on and off the toggle when we want it, and this one's just going to control the numbers. Let's just go make sure if it works. So we close this, and we come back over here, and here's our second outlet. Unlock your patcher, and the second outlet's going to come down, go around, come up, come over, back down, lock your patcher, and now let's just see. I'm going to push down the tilde, and well, let's try a number first. Gosh, I'm suddenly popular here. Hold on. First, press the key that turns your phone off. Okay, so we put caps lock down, and now we push a 1, and now we can say record. This is track 1, this is track 1, I'm gonna let my finger up. Here it goes. So, and now we can, of course, check and see if that worked.
Oh, this is track 1, this is track 1, I'm gonna let my finger up. Here it goes. This is track 1, this is track 1, I'm gonna let my finger up.
Whew. Fantastic. So, works for track 1, and what about track 2? I push down a 2, and now I push the tilde down. This is track 2. And I let my finger up, and it turns off. And now if we go ahead and play...
This is track 1, this is track 1, I'm gonna let my finger up. Here it goes. This is track 1, I'm gonna let my finger up. Here it goes.
So, putting it into presentation mode, we'll turn the sync on so that they don't drift too far.
Here it goes. This is track 1. This is track 1. I'm gonna let my finger up. Here it goes.
Okay. Whoops, sorry, stop. Oh, right. So one of the other things that seems obvious here, so this is great. We can just record on any track we want now, right? So I'm very happy about this key up control, and there you can just see it working so beautifully. But the nice thing about that means you can turn on and off anything you want. And if you're thinking, hey, instead of having to turn on these individual tracks and loops and things, maybe I could have them toggled using this key command. And the fact of the matter is that you could. So let's go ahead and look at that. Going back into patching mode here and opening this, we could add other things. So let's suppose what would be a good command for all stopping or all starting. And in the sort of typical keyboard world, that would be the space bar, right? So if we put the caps lock down and we hit a space bar, that would stop everything if it started and start everything if it stopped, or vice versa. So let's go ahead and try to do it. We push the space bar down just to, well, let's lock our patcher just to make sure, and I'm even going to put caps lock down and see what space bar is 32. So we can, this isn't going to be something where we want the key up, because we want to hit it once to start everything up and another time to stop everything. So let's go ahead and unlock the patcher here. So now we need a 32 on the end of our select key here. And we don't necessarily, remember these don't line up. This is actually the 32. So when we get 32 once, it's going to bang on something like a toggle and turn something on, and when it untoggles, it's going to turn it off. So let's go ahead and type a T there, and that's how it's going to do it. So now let's lock this patcher and just make sure it works. Spacebar, 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 spacebar. So now this is all on and all off, and we probably need another outlet here. Unlock our patcher. So you'll want to option click on this, drag it over here, and now I suddenly remembered that there's an issue here. You may recall that we hit a 0 to get groove to start, but then we have to send it a stop to get it to stop. So those are the two messages we actually have to send to it. So we actually need 2 outlets, not just one, and I'll show you why in a minute. Not everything is as easy as you wish it were, but here we go. So now we'll have to put another select object down here that says select 1 and 0. So when it gets a 1, we're going to make it start. I know this sounds almost counterintuitive, but that's what we're going to do. So when you select a 1, you get a bang, and it's going to send out a 0 message. 0. And that's going to go out outlet 3. And if you get a 0, you're going to tell it to stop, and the only way to do that is to send out a message stop. Okay, remember to take your, it has to be small letters. Messages are case sensitive in Macs, so if you have caps lock on still, it won't work. So there we go, and connect stop to outlet 4. Okay, so now I'm going to hit caps lock again and click my little thing and see if my still working, it's good. Okay, so we're going to close this, and now we have 2 brand new outlets from the Patcher Johnny key, and we unlock this patcher, and these are all of the zeros that are going to tell it to go. And, well, I could have just sent out a bang, right? It doesn't matter, it's the same. But, so here, these go to the inlet there. See, this 0 goes to that inlet. Now we're sending a 0 from up here. So, there it is. I'm going to hold the Shift key down and go click, 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 and let off my Shift key and do that one. And now we have this other one that's going to be sending out the stop message, and we're going to send that in the same inlet. And here it is. Going there. I'm holding the Shift key down again, doing that, letting up off the Shift key, and doing that. And that should, we believe, work now. So let's lock this patcher, put it in presentation mode, and let's just see how things go. We just push caps lock down, hit your space bar. Oh, we put...
This is track 1, this is track 1, I'm gonna let my finger up, here it goes. This is track 1, this is track 1.
Hey, look at that, I hit the space bar and it stopped. Now start.
This is track 1.
Stop. Start.
This is track 1.
Stop. Alright, working beautifully. Now, we probably could stick some other things in that would then stop and start them individually, which could be a trick, but I think we've gone on enough, so I think you can understand that with this little key up patcher here, that now you can add this sort of functionality that allows you to do this. So now I can just type 3, I can just hold this down, and as always I can say something to the effect of, "Thank you so much for watching this video."
Thank you so much for watching this video.
Yeah.
Here it goes. Thank you so much for watching this video.
You gotta love that. You gotta love that. Okay.
Thank you so much.
What he said, and I will catch you all next time.
Here it goes. Thank you so much for watching this video. Here it goes. Thank you so much for watching this video.